Chapter 11. Asta's son, came Aycliffe's voice. In the name of Lord Furnival, you're herewith charged with theft. Give way. I was too stunned to move. The boy's a wolf head, the steward shouted. Slay him if you can. From either side, men ran forward. I ran the only way open to me, toward the mill. Reaching it, I felt about its outer walls. Finding a grip, I hoisted myself up in hope of escaping by climbing and hiding. But then a great crack exploded a hand's breadth from my head. Twisting around, I saw an arrow embedded in the timbers of the mill. Faint with horror, I loosened my grip and dropped to the ground. For a moment, I squatted, trying to regain my breath and wits. Hearing the men draw closer, I leaped up and scrambled around the corner of the mill. Aycliffe urged the men on. Hurry! He went around the mill. Head him off. He mustn't escape. The other side of the mill was completely dark. For all I saw, I might have been blind. Sure enough, the next moment my feet slipped out from under me and I crashed into water. Gasping for breath, I flailed around until my feet touched bottom. The water was up to my chest. I'd dropped into the mill race, the ditch where the river water ran to the mill's wheels. Knowing I was in no danger of drowning, I paused to catch my breath and listen. In the darkness, I heard the steward continually cry out while the other men stumbled about, trying to find where I was. Deciding to use the mill race as a path, I waded forward against the water flow, knowing it would take me to the river. The farther I went, the more the tumult behind me lessened. Even so, I had little doubt they were still searching. The press of water increased. Stopping, I grasped the edge of the race and hauled myself out, rolled over, and hugged the ground. I could hear the river before me. I crawled forward, making my way down a gentle slope until my hand touched water again. It was the river. Unable to swim, not certain how deep the river was at this spot, I hugged the bank, too timid to pass over. I spied lights upstream. They looked like torch flares. The men were hovering near the fording place, thinking I'd try a crossing there. I had to either cross where I was or go a different way. Afraid of the river, I chose to turn and work my way back to the mill run. I slipped in, waded across, and came up on the other side. Gaining firm ground, I began to run. I went past the cottages and across new plowed fields until I reached the road. Not stopping, I rushed on. In such moonlight as there was, I made my way to the southern end of Stromford and another boundary cross. It was when I knelt down to pray that I saw a form on the ground. It took a moment for me to realize someone was lying there. My first thought was that it was a guard meant to stand against me and that he had fallen asleep. But when the person didn't move, I drew forward, albeit timidly. It was Father Quinnell. He lay very still. "Father?" I cried softly. He did not answer. I knelt down, reached out, and touched him gently. "Father?" I said a second time. He still did not move. I peered closer, only to see that his throat had been slit. His blood, made black by night, lay pooled upon the ground. Stifling a shriek, I knelt down, my whole body shaking. Terrified, I made a short and desperate prayer to St. Giles, imploring his blessings on the priest and on myself. That done, I ran away. God, I was certain, had completely abandoned me.